You're listening to Comedy Central.
Coming to you live from the bunker. Actually, it's just the room in our office.
The bunker?
I don't know. I wanted to be more exotic with where the show comes from. It's just a regular room that we do the podcast in.
No, it's not. It's a cabin.
It is a cabin. We put some wood paneling up there. Give it a lovely wood finish. Anyway, so it's the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow T5 Transit. As always,
what about your theme song?
Oh, I got to do a theme song. This is the Jim Jefferies Show. It's like another show, but it's not the same show. It's different to John Oliver ever so slightly.
That might be your best ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna start with my upcoming tour dates.
Yep.
May 18th, I'll be at Centennial Hall in London, Ontario, Canada. May 19th. First Ontario Concert Hall in Hamilton, Canada, and I'll be at the Clusterfest Comedy and Music Festival June 1st to June 3rd in San Francisco, and get tickets at jimjefferies.com. Boom.
Yeah, we're done with the show.
What have you got to promote? Will you be with me in any of these towns?
No, well, Tommy's going to be with you in
Oh,
Canada.
I got my Canadian support.
I think in San Francisco I'm with you, so we'll see.
All right.
What do I have to promote? We always do at the end. I have the Poor Decisions. I always say that every time. Poor Decisions is on iTunes and Amazon, and please write a review, because a lot of people have written reviews that are, some are positive, and then some start with, this was a poor decision, then what? We get it. All right. So,
wow. Forrest has started very moody in this podcast.
Very hurtful.
Chip her up, Buttercup. All right? It's going to be a long podcast, fella. We don't need you to be all sad. But we also have here Laura Willcox, one of our writers, Laura Willcox.
Hello.
How are you? You got anything to promote, Laura?
I have a book.
All right, and it's a book about, I know what it's about, but I'm asking so you can say it.
Thank you so much for that tee up.
Yeah.
It's called I Am Bride. It's a parody wedding guidebook. It's a funny book about weddings, and it's for women who are losing their goddamn minds while they're planning their wedding.
But men can still
read
it,
Which I'm sure
right?
a lot of this audience doesn't really.
My fan base is a lot of women about 30 to 38 who are planning weddings. That's
Okay,
like
great.
my target demo. It's all they...
You're gonna love
the
this.
mail I get is outrageous. So today's show, it was a very exciting show. It was a show that for the first time, I think maybe the first time we've had extra cast members on the show that weren't being interviewed, like actual cast members that weren't our weatherman.
Right, that weren't Brad Pitt.
That weren't Brad Pitt.
Is that?
Well, it's the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Everyone figured it out.
Yeah.
But we had we did a opening piece, was a piece on cheerleading in America and how shitty it is, and how cheerleaders
How shitty cheerleading is?
Well, how shitty the treatment of cheerleaders are. How little they get paid. They get paid like $150 in like the Dallas Cowboys, and if you're
that's the max.
That's the max. That's if you're crushing it.
That's
and then if you're in a lesser team like the Buffalo Bills, you get like $150 for the whole season.
And then some. I don't know. You worked on this piece, right? Do some of them not get paid, or is there all of them are at least getting like $150 a season or something?
I don't know exactly. I don't know how much every team, but just the fact that the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders get $150 a game, and they're part of the NFL was very shocking.
How many extra microphones do we have here?
We've got one there, and we got one.
We got one.
Yeah, but we. I would say there's 16 home games. I mean, 16 games, only 8 are home games. So I don't know if they got. So if you divide
rehearsals were unpaid. I remember. They have to do all these like promotional events that are unpaid. They're expected to run cheerleading camps that are unpaid. Like they're
hair and makeup's not paid for, right?
Yeah, they have to pay for their own hair and makeup. A lot of them have to pay a registration fee to audition.
I got to say, doing this show has made me less misogynistic because I never.
Aww.
No, I mean that because I would never have thought about this before doing this show. This is information that would never be passed on to me. I would see like a Laker girl or whatever and go, "Oh, well, she's got a job and they're doing fine," and all that type of stuff. I would never have known this unless I did this show. And so, what we did was to make even the playing field a little bit. We did something that was slightly misogynistic. We got girls to dance on the show, but we paid them more than the NFL. So the dichotomy is fantastic. Is that the right word, dichotomy? Probably. Is that an oxymoron?
It could be sore.
Is that what? No,
not an oxymoron.
Not one of those.
Onomatopoeia. That's what it is.
Is it an otter? Oh yeah. That's a good one. Otter. Yeah, I love that one. I'm going to use that one in a sentence somewhere else.
Onomatopoeia.
So what we did was we brought on this episode, and there may be in other episodes in the future. We now have the Gym Jefferettes. We have
our own cheerleaders.
We have our own cheerleaders with outfits.
Your own, yeah.
Now, when I was a young boy growing up in Australia, I never foresaw a time when ladies would be wearing outfits with my name across their chest. I never thought that would happen. Today, little goal achieved.
Wow, a goal you didn't even know you had.
It wasn't even a goal. It wasn't even a goal.
A goal created and achieved all in the same day.
Yeah, and we came up with the idea like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been a long time goal.
They learn that dance very fast.
Also, it's the show's name too. Like I thought you'd be more impressed that you actually have a show.
No,
that's old news.
I've gotten bored having my own show. I've done this. Anyway, before we carry on, I just want to say congratulations to my assistant Jack Hackett, who finished college.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's going to graduate. Going to graduate, aren't you, Jackie? Yes. Good work. Can you hack it? All right. And
you can't see he's got a haircut. I was a podcast.
He's got a haircut. It's all going uptown for Jack. Jack's got a haircut. He's graduated. Life's really turning around for you, isn't it, Jack? Yeah. All right. Good. He wants to be a comedian one day.
You're supposed to say, go get me a drink right after that.
I'm about to say that.
Okay.
I was just about to take the last sip.
Okay.
Jack, go get me a drink.
There you go. All right.
Ask everyone else if they want a drink as well. So we had
You're a graduate now.
I'm glad you paid for that degree.
Yeah, well done, college boy.
Yeah.
I never finished high school, and I'm a multimillionaire. Get the fuck away from me. I did finish high school for the people who are listening. I didn't finish college. So we had the Jim Jefferies Jefferettes, and we actually paid them 5 times more than what they would earn in the NFL. And still, may I argue, not a huge amount of money, but the NFL are just fucking...
Starting from a very low bar.
They're just pigs. Would any of the you guys want to talk on the mic at all?
They're here.
Yeah, come on.
Here, we need a chair, actually.
There's another chair over there.
There's a chair there. Here, let me...
Oh, you were in the NFL?
Yeah, we don't supply them with chairs. We're not at that level yet. We still supply the girls.
There's a microphone right there. Okay, now I'm sorry, I don't know your names, but please introduce yourself. Jessica?
Hi, Jessica.
Yes. Jessica is one of the Jefferies Jefferettes.
Yay.
Yay. And so you were a cheerleader in the NFL?
Correct.
What teams?
2 different teams. So I was with Atlanta for 3 years and then Tampa Bay for a year as well.
Wow. And so, was that just because you were living in those different cities, or you traveled for the work?
I was actually in college when I cheered for Atlanta, so I would drive 2 to 2.5 hours to practices twice a week. But the practices and the games are like 10% of what we do. Mm-hmm. We are always out in the community on our own.
Well, because you're probably homeless with the amount they pay you.
Exactly. I remember one year for our Christmas gift, we got a big bag of nuts, and we were like, thanks, Falcons.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, Author Blank. With all that money you have.
Are you allowed to tell us how much they paid you?
Well, it was pretty much the same, $150. It was either 100 or 150. I don't even remember.
Per game?
Honestly. Per game.
Okay.
There's 8 home games.
Yeah.
So, yes, what we got paid today is what we would make them as in a year.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
In the NFL.
And because their thought is like, well, if you don't like it, there's a line of girls out the door who'll take your place, which is completely fucked
what they're
up.
doing now is they're just getting rid of the cheerleaders.
Right.
So how are we meant to know to cheer?
Yeah, wow.
I don't even know when I'm meant to cheer if I don't have cheerleaders. Who's going to lead the cheer for me? I'm just going to sit there like a moron going, did we win? Did we lose? What's going on?
I'm a stereotype of a woman who doesn't know anything about sports, so truly it's the only interesting thing about going to a live sporting event is to watch the cheerleaders.
It's part of the entertainment.
Yes, it's part of the experience.
I've never understood it because I didn't grow up in America, and I find it a little bit archaic that the boys do activities and the women cheer them on. I've always thought that seemed a little weird to me. But as you said, a lot of people want to do. Cheerleading is very competitive. Would you consider it a sport? Cheerleading?
Yes. I mean, in college it was different because collegiate cheerleading is different. When you're in the NFL, it's more like dance and just entertainment, Right. It's part of the package. You buy these tickets are expensive. Mm-hmm. So it's like, for me, I don't I don't really give a shit about the football games, honestly.
No.
So when I go, I want to see the other things that are there. I'm like, I want to be entertained when I go to a sporting event. So I like stuff like that.
My son only likes the basketball when the basketball isn't being played.
Yeah.
He goes to the Staples Center. It's like, now they've just got balloons coming down from the sky.
Right.
There's a T-shirt cannon.
Yeah, look, sports are bad and boring.
And
everyone knows that.
And she mentioned, too, I know this because you do a lot of, like, charitable, like you go out to, like...
Correct, yes.
I'm not just giving an example, like a children's hospital, let's say, or something like that, or wherever there's a team event. And then the mascot comes to that too, right? And we did mention it, that the mascot gets paid.
He's on like salary.
How sleazy
the mascots
gets benefits, but not.
How sleazy are the mascots? That's got to be one creepy guy.
Those things have
who
to
just
smell.
hangs out with you all day, going, yeah, I've been a mascot here for 10 years.
They're
Like that's
actually always cool. I don't know. I liked our guys.
Yeah, because they're making money. That's why.
Yeah, they were happy. Shit,
comfortable
you're
living.
You're in a cool costume.
You can fart
do
in that thing
whatever
all day?
you want.
Yeah, it's great.
You can do whatever you want to
Piss
the
in it.
fans.
you're not allowed to. Mr. Met gave the finger and he was fired.
Yeah, well, you can't do that.
Well, you
it's
can't
a
get
family
the
event.
finger, it was cut from the show, but NFL water boys make like $53,000 a year.
That's right.
And
The
they just
water
squirt
boy
water.
makes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, the water boys
According
make.
to the internet.com.
Make
Now, this
50
was
something
this
grand.
was over 10 years
Upsetting.
ago when I cheered, but still, it's pretty much the same.
It's only now changing.
So in the piece we talked about you weren't allowed to date players.
No, you sign a contract. You're not to fraternize with players. If you are caught in any way, you're kicked off the team, really with no questions asked.
Right,
So,
but the players aren't given the same
players
talking.
are
Did you still have players hit on you?
Yes, I mean, and this was before Instagram. I know the girl that from the Saints, the whole thing with her is she was saying those guys reached out to her via Instagram, and she's like, I can't help it.
Right.
But I mean, when you're in that environment, it's like, I mean,
That's who you're spending time with.
Of course.
Yeah.
It happens. And we're adults. That's the thing is like you can do it in college, but you can't do it as an adult in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
the fact that it's on the women to block the players, and one of the lawyers was like, if a cheerleader is in a restaurant and a player comes to the restaurant, the cheerleader has to leave.
I've always had a policy here
what's going on?
that any women who work for me are allowed to hit on me. I have. It's yet to come into
Hasn't
play.
happened yet.
It hasn't come into play. We haven't had an issue.
It's been
There hasn't been one person that works in this building that's had to struggle with that rule.
Yeah, we all know we're free to. It just don't.
Yeah, you're all allowed to.
We also cut out that one joke that just reminded me. It was where you were showing all the pictures that the NFL uses of the cheerleader. We were like, and this one, and this one, and this one, but then you're not allowed to post stuff on Instagram. It's just so much hypocrisy.
Right.
That's
very insane.
So I don't know what I wasn't following in the news. So now the law. I guess Roger Goodell said we're going to look into this, which is always
Oh,
good.
thank
For
gosh.
yeah. But I know, but it's like we're going to look into it, just like we looked into the concussions.
Yeah,
and
I've looked, and it looks great to me.
It looks like people are dying out there.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders, so we're going to bump it up.
Well, we're talking about the Buffalo Jills and how they're like don't even have cheerleaders anymore because they tried to sue and unionize.
So cold there, though. It's probably
It's so cold there. Like, why would anyone want to be a cheerleader in Buffalo to begin with? Why would anyone live in Buffalo?
That's the bigger
if
question.
you're sitting at home right now listening to this podcast and you're from Buffalo, you're not welcome. Turn it off. We don't want you watching our show. We don't want you listening to the podcast. We think you're horrible people. Have some ambition in life. Try to get out of there, but you
look up
don't,
the
do you?
numbers in Buffalo right now. See how many.
Let's see if it drops. That
It's gonna
one,
take me a minute, so
the
keep
one guy
going.
in Buffalo that has a TV that works.
Keep going. I'm gonna look it up.
You don't actually know that, do you?
No, I can look and see how many people in the Buffalo area are listening to.
Oh, listen to the podcast?
Yeah, it would take me a minute to find it, but yeah.
All right, so our next act was, and you can stay on, keep just
All right,
intervene.
did any of the other
Did you?
Jim Jefferettes want to speak?
Did? Oh,
You guys can.
I'm not even a real comedian.
Everyone should come introduce yourself at least for the yeah.
Also, did you guys watch the episode? Like, if we're talking about, like, did you watch it when your bit wasn't on, or were you just you were snacking?
Well, you gotta
Hey.
do that.
Yeah.
Here, you can talk into the mic. Introduce everyone. Introduce.
Hi, I'm Jillian.
Hi, I'm Kayla.
Yeah.
And were you a cheerleader? Because Jillian's a fraud.
Yeah, I'm a fraud. I'm a professional dancer, but I've never been on a cheer team, not even in high school.
When you say professional dancer, like you've done backup dancing for people, or you do what do you do when you say?
I've performed for a few artists, but mainly TV and film. So things like this, like when you need people to come in and do this.
That's how we probably found you.
Yeah, I would say.
And then I was a cheerleader, but I did competitive cheerleading and collegiate cheerleading. So
What is
it's a little bit
competitive?
different.
Is it
That's
like?
like
Is it
gymnastics and
like
flips.
is it like the movie Bring It On? Is that a
Yes.
realistic thing?
It's
Yes.
actually I was in Bring It On 4.
Nice.
What? But that was the best one.
I know, right?
The first three were
I
shit,
know.
and then the
Screw the
fourth movie really kicked into gear.
That's what I'm
and I was
saying.
like, Bring It On 4
They
now.
finally got the groove on the fourth one.
That's when it was brought. It
Yeah.
had been brought in. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
it had been
They brought
brought
it on the
at that
fourth
point.
one.
It was
Yeah.
brought in.
Number 5 was called Already Brought. Watch 4.
And where there's a fourth member that's not here. That she left.
Yeah, they're allowed. They have lives
No, I didn't
outside of
know.
the
I
Jim
just
Jefferies show.
wanted to make
Yeah, we
They're
don't pay them
they're
enough
not
to stay here all
contracted
day.
to stay here. All
just
she had to
wanted
do
to
was
make
dance.
sure
That's
they got
the whole
airtime.
point we're trying to make, Forrest.
She said her name is Precious. She said she was a cheerleader in high school, but she's mostly just a professional dancer like me.
Right.
All right.
And how? Because you guys seem to learn the dance in like fucking 5 minutes. Like we showed up in the morning, and you just knew what the fuck you were doing. I was rehearsing that script for days, and I still flubbed everything. I'm what my teachers at school used to call not smart. I went to a tough school.
Yeah, your teachers are mean. Jesus.
Yeah, so how long did it take to learn that? Was that simple? Also, I was going to say, because you danced to the Jim Jefferies Show theme song and go dun 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 dun, which is the most tedious song in the world. That must have been the shittiest song you've ever danced to, correct?
No.
No?
No.
What do you normally dance to, like the theme song from Benny Hill? Is that a reference that Americans get?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can only speak for myself, but all the TV and film is usually licensing issues with a lot of music, so they're making their own music, and I feel like your theme music is actually rather pleasant compared to the majority of the stuff I've heard.
Thank you. I do what I can.
I've got our Buffalo numbers.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Hold on.
Have any of you girls been to Buffalo? No, it's horrible. It's horrible. You're they would faint if they saw you because you're a woman with teeth. Like they would go, "This is amazing." They'd be looking at the moon being caught in a puddle, going, "Oh, we've caught this."
We're not doing well in Buffalo. There's only
that's so
nine
weird.
listeners.
Huh.
No, this is. Well, fuck all 9 of you. Fuck off.
That can't be right. We have so many listeners.
Why are you surprised?
I don't know.
We probably had a lot more like 15 minutes ago.
No, this isn't live.
This is a pre-recorded show.
I thought we were pretending.
Okay,
Sorry.
so the next segment, I got to interview Carol Burnett. Did you guys know who Carol Burnett was before this?
Yeah.
It was very exciting for me because, like, obviously a comic legend. She's in her 80s, so I was very nervous when I met her.
Don't feel like you have to stand there. If you're uncomfortable, if you want to go back.
If you want to go, you can talk away.
Are you
But
telling us you want us to walk away?
no.
I'm just saying. You look. If you're 2 years standing.
Anyway, so Carol Burnett, I'll tell you how old Carol Burnett is. My mother, who's in her late 70s herself, I rang my mother up and I said, "Hey, Mum, I interviewed Carol Burnett today." And my mother went, "Is she still alive?" Well, obviously, Mum, I just interviewed her. So,
She's not.
yeah,
It
I'm
didn't
going
go well.
to go out on a limb and say it was a live person that I talked to. And my mother went, "How is she? Is she doing good?" And I go, "She seems to be, yes. I'll pass that on to you."
She's got a new show. She's doing great.
She's she was I hate to be condescending about old people. Like she was a very active mind and she was still funny. She made me laugh several times just in hanging out with her. And also, I think you can sort of tell this at the beginning of the tape. We were kind of flirty with each other.
She was hitting on you.
Me and Carol Burnett kept on telling me how handsome I was. I don't get that very often. I am very big in the over 80s community. but it was kind of like, and she kept on touching my chest. Every time I did jokes, she'd touch my arm or something like that. I got a little Carol Burnett thing going. Oh, yeah.
You made her laugh.
She had. I did. I made it. I made her love the girl.
Made the final.
I mean, she has a husband who's like 20 years younger than her. So
nice.
Go Carol.
Yeah, go Carol. Yeah,
that's the secret.
And he's like a successful
he's
guy.
65. He's not that young.
Yeah, but when she married, but when she married him, he was like 40.
Yeah,
she's been with him for like 25 years or something.
True. Yeah.
And she was like, you watched the movie Annie? Yeah. She was the mean person who ran the home in Annie. Huh? Miss Hannigan.
Yeah.
In the real Annie, not the one.
The movie, the good 80s movie.
Not the new one, which, you know.
Yeah, I just clicked on her husband's name, Brian Miller, and there was an article, Hollywood Cougars Who Found True Love. That's like the first article that comes up. It's like, all right, guys.
The internet is crashed.
The term cougar must be offensive, right?
But
why?
No.
But what is it? Like a cougar isn't like necessarily an older animal. It's a cougar's whatever it is, whatever.
Yeah, but it's still a predator. You know?
Right.
Well,
I've been out with some girls who look like the predator.
Well,
I never thought about it as being a predator.
There's someone out there for everyone. But a cougar is a predatory animal who has prey.
Well, it was interesting. There was things that didn't happen in the interview that we talked about, things like the idea that she was on TV at the height of the Vietnam War and Watergate, and, you know, she never touched politics. And it was kind of interesting. And I also, when I was talking to her, you know, the biggest selling comedian in the world when she was doing that show was Steve Martin. So the world had so much shit going on with Vietnam and Watergate and problems that comedy went silly for a while. We went to a guy that had balloons on his head. We went to Carol Burnett. And then before that, it was all political and stuff. It goes in phases. It goes in so at the moment, everyone's political. But I believe the bubble's about to burst and it's about to go silly again. Because everything's so dark and bad and the immigrants are coming and this is coming and a nuclear war might happen and all this type of bullshit, right? So everything's weighing on our shoulders right now. And I believe the next step in comedy is going to be silly, which will fuck me up. Because I'm what am I? Disgusting.
Yeah, you have a good mix, actually.
You can get silly.
You have a good mix of being silly, too, with disgusting.
Hey, this is a little ego trip for me. Had any of you seen my comedy before you did the show?
Yes.
You had? Oh, the gun control thing. All right. Well, that's don't watch anything else.
I watch this show.
No, because you like me already. You think I'm a nice enough fella, correct? Right, I'm all right. And gun control is probably my best thing. Don't look up anything about me saying mean things about. Never happened. Just watch that.
Good luck with that. That's yeah.
Stop Googling right now.
Don't Google.
Yeah. Google anybody. Don't even Google your own name after the show. Don't Google your own name.
Yes.
Okay, you all right? You all right for a drink? Because I'm going to send Jack on another one.
Happy graduation.
Hey, Jackie boy.
As he's adjusting the tripod.
Get us another drink, Jack. Laura, do you want something? Get something for yourself.
I have a headache.
That's it. Alcohol makes that go away.
I love when people that drink a lot. Alcohol helps that. Everyone, get a bad back.
You get the headache now. Why don't you all get chairs and sit down? Get fucking chairs.
Come on, Jack, do something.
Jesus Christ,
degree.
Jack.
How are they teaching you at USC?
Yeah, this is the first time Jack's been around attractive women, so he doesn't quite know what to do. He's freezing up for a bit.
Jack probably gets.
Just on cue. Your voice just went up 3 octaves. Who ordered a beer?
Hey, Mr. Simpson, some girls have walked in the room. Thank you, Jack. We're sorry for teasing you. Congratulations on all you've achieved. Okay, and then on our third act, we talked about... What did we talk about?
What did we talk about, Jim?
What did we just do?
The caravan of migrants.
Oh, the caravan of migrants.
The hotbed of comedy.
There was about 1,200 migrants that started at the Mexico border, mostly from Honduras, and 300 of them made it to the border of the U.S. near Tijuana. And wait
a minute. What happens along the way? They get cut off at each border. Like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't they all? They could all make it to the border.
We didn't talk about this. We did have this a little bit in the script, but we didn't talk about. Approximately 900 stayed in Mexico because even though the asylum laws aren't as good in Mexico, they have better opportunities in Mexico for jobs and work than they do in the United States, which is kind of funny because everyone thinks they're coming here for jobs. But these migrants are mainly, they're trying to avoid getting murdered for the most point. And
which we all do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But some of us have to do it in a more meaningful way than others. But every day I avoid being murdered. It's one of these things.
So far, we've all been great at it.
They call it the Northern Triangle. It's El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. It's one of the most dangerous regions of the world. So this caravan ended up being mostly women and children. There's a lot of infants and small children, and they're applying for asylum legally to come into the country so that they don't die.
Now, as an Australian, when I think caravan, that's meant to be something that's attached to the back of your car that you go on holidays with. Yeah. And so are they all in a big caravan like that?
No. They
Over
were
here, a caravan is like a big... Like a train, like a
procession.
Exactly.
With the microphone, have you caravan talk?
Yeah.
I know it's
she wasn't a cheerleader, but she was
know
caravans.
I know about immigration.
Yeah,
I know it from the movie Caravan of Courage with the Ewoks.
That's right. I never knew that movie till you referenced that.
But
I gotta make an apology that happened on the last week's podcast, and people have been annoying the
if you're gonna do
fuck.
If you're gonna do that, we have to do a whole podcast.
No, people have been annoying the fuck out of me. I said the film clip for Don't Worry, Be Happy had Christopher Reeve in it. It turns out it was Bill Irwin, and I was completely wrong. But I, as a kid, remembered it being Christopher Reeve, and I was wrong. Hey, wait a minute, Internet. I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
Also, you said that Bobby McFerrin was dead, and he's not.
I never said Bobby McFerrin
Somebody
was dead.
on the podcast.
Bobby McFerrin's not dead.
We edited it out.
I said that Robin Williams was dead, and he was on Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Somebody else said Bobby McFerrin's dead, and then we were notified by somebody that he's alive and hopefully happy.
It's like, I am not.
I don't imagine. Do you girls know Bobby McFerrin?
Don't worry.
Here's a little song I wrote.
I can't sing it.
Great.
I can't sing any songs on this show.
All right, I'll do it slightly different.
My fault.
I'll do it different so we don't have to pay for it. Worry a little bit, be unhappy. Worry a bit and be unhappy. I'm really sad. I'm fucking unhappy. I'm so unhappy. I'm worried all the time.
If I didn't know what song you're talking about, I'd be very confused.
That was pretty close.
That must have been a big hit back in the day. So we talked about the Caravan of Courage, which was which is where the Ewoks tried to get in. Doesn't it sound like the word Ewok could be a racist term?
It does.
If you went, fuck it, I was doing all right, but a couple of Ewoks came to me party and fucked it up. You go, don't call them that. I was driving behind a fucking Ewok, and you know how they are.
How are they?
You don't even know what race I'm talking about, but you know,
I know.
Short little hairy fuckers. You know they are.
You ever seen them drive? I can't remember what the scooter's called. I was going to try and make a reference. What is that thing? No, the thing the Ewoks fly in the movie.
The thing in Star Wars. You never seen Star Wars? I've never seen it. All right, can someone drag her out of this room right now?
I barely saw him. Now I don't want to watch it myself. Yeah.
What? Because of the Ewoks?
No.
They're good.
Like,
you don't have
to watch 1, 2, skip all the rest.
Yeah, there's the mic. Yeah, we only have one mic.
All right, no, hand that over. I want to hear your Star Wars. The reason you don't want to watch Star Wars.
Well, because now when I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, what the hell? You've never seen any of the Star Wars. I have not. And then they tell me, well, you need to watch 1 and 2, but then skip like 3, 4. I don't know. How many are there now?
This is my same problem with the Bring It On movies.
7.
I can't start now.
Exactly.
I'm too far behind the story. I'll never catch up.
There's too many.
There are. I only watched them in college because my boyfriend at the time made me
was
watch
a Wookiee.
them all. Yeah, he was a Wookiee. So he was like, "You're dishonoring my family." But I just got like really stoned and watched them back to back. So I don't remember them at all. So I basically haven't seen them yet.
All right, okay. I've known you for a while now. We've known each other.
I didn't know
for a
you
while.
got stoned.
Oh, Laura. She's never awake. Now, Laura, I'm looking at you now. I've known you for a while. And your husband, by the way, girls, her husband is fucking handsome.
You talk about this a lot.
He's so good looking. When your husband is around, I get nervous. He's so fucking good looking. You've told him I said that, right? He knows I know that, right?
You've told him.
Yeah, he's so fucking good looking.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
He's like, she fucking nailed it, right? He might be a nightmare to live with. There's got to be something wrong with this cunt, right?
Unfortunately, he's a really good guy.
Yeah, like
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for.
So where can we find one of these?
Well, you just take hers. Just take hers.
Improv class.
Just take hers. He already exists.
Oh, you guys met in improv class?
She works a lot. He's lonely. You can get him. Anyway, she's written a book about marriage. She's not even happy. But anyway, so your husband's just, oh God, he's handsome. Your husband's
lost.
like
Yeah.
so.
I don't remember your. I don't know if you. Remember.
Anyway,
Well, we're talking about the caravan.
my point is, you were talking about
Migrants.
your boyfriend in college who made you watch Star Wars. I assume he looked like a burn victim or something.
I'm not gonna lie. He looked like a caveman. He had a prominent overbrow.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
not
a looming brow.
a looming brow.
Yeah, it's like a caveman
he's not
forehead.
a good person. I wish him the worst.
All right.
Not because of the Star Wars thing, but because he.
Yeah,
was
geez,
an
those
asshole.
Star Wars films must have been hard for you.
Yeah, I really didn't like the Star Wars film. No, he was. I've upgraded.
Oh, you've upgraded? You can't go any higher than your husband, Don.
It's almost like you're insulting Laura while you're complimenting her.
No, the first time we met Don, Jim came up to me. He's like, "Your husband's so handsome, and then he just slowly backed up and walked away.
When I'm being mean to women, my accent becomes British.
I can't do Australian. I listen to it.
You're
every
so handsome. Oh,
You're
skipping
so
you.
handsome. I'm popping up the chimney.
Hey, come here, Mary Poppins, and let me talk about your husband.
I can't do an Australian accent.
This is very easy. It's like a British accent, but you slow it down because of the heat.
I thought it was just British, but drunk.
No, yes.
They're just always drunk. It's not a different accent. The whole country's
The
drunk.
whole country's just fucking wasted. We're trying to say good day. We really are. Good day to you. But we can't get it out. It's good day.
Crocodile.
But to reiterate, I don't want anything else to come out of this podcast except for I'm fucking in love with your husband, man. And he just seems like such a cool dude as well. Like we've been out drinking, and then like there was one time me and him were like pissing next to each other, and he tapped me on the shoulder and he went, "Good show, Jim," and I like giggled. I'm just so excited when he's around.
Yeah, I'll tell him to come by more often.
I got to tell a funny story though, because last week, and also we should mention this, that we did a digital thing with you last week, and that's gonna be out.
It's up.
And what happened was last episode we had on the show, you came and did the digital recording.
We titled it "Men in America."
Men in America. And this is something that Laura wrote, and we.
Wow.
I performed a little bit, but it's mostly Laura's piece. But Laura's we also had Kerry King from Slayer on last week's show, and you tell the story.
Yeah, I texted Don, my husband, my hot husband, afterwards that I forgot to tell him that Kerry King from Slayer was there, and he was like, "What? I would have come to the taping if you had told me." I was like, "I filmed a piece today." He was like, "I would have shown up." But
yeah, but
I didn't really want him there. I was distracted.
In all fairness, Don's pretty busy being handsome.
Yeah.
Like if he texts me back, fuck, I'd have to get a new phone because when it's getting the circuits. Jesus Christ. I'd be so excited if he texts me. Like just tell him, like don't tell him, but say, like, Jim mentioned you.
Pass him a note.
Yeah, like Jim said you seem really cool. What do you think about Jim? Like just work it into a conversation, but don't pressure him. I don't want to scare him away.
No. I'll play it cool. Don't worry.
Since we're already talking about it, because we were going to talk about that. And then I misset up right now. So I just looked at the sheet, Men in America. That was the name of Tucker Carlson's.
Yeah.
Thing. If you want to explain a little bit of what it was.
Okay, so
your husband's so handsome.
Yeah. So my husband's handsome, and that inspired me to write this. No, during Women's History Month, which was March, Tucker Carlson over on Fox News decided that was the time to air a weekly series called Men in America, because women get a lot of they get this whole month devoted to them, but no one's talking about the real issue, which is the crisis facing men in America.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like spewing.
I think I can talk on this now.
Yeah. He was just
Us men have been having a horrible time.
A bad time.
Look, as an immigrant who's only been given 2 TV shows, I've had a rough go at it.
You guys are having a hard time, apparently. But he's like just spewing facts like 90% of prison inmates are men, as if men are being victimized by this. I'm like, well, men are fucking violent and are committing all the crimes.
Shut up!
That's why they're in prison. It was a real
it's the red pill stuff.
Yeah, it's the red pill stuff. It's
all
like
the red pill
like
facts.
we're victims. Wow. So some men are victimized. I'm sure some of them are out there. I just don't think it's a male crisis.
There's a difference between being oppressed and suffering.
Like,
everyone suffers. Not everyone's oppressed.
Exactly.
So the piece.
Exactly.
I'm mostly sad.
Yeah.
Is that oppression or what is that?
I've had a few people because the piece is up, and
yeah,
so I've had
it's on
a few,
our Facebook page. If you're not already at Jefferies Show, you can also find it on our Twitter at Jefferies Show. The piece is up there with Laura, and you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of like homemade charts about all the stats of how men are actually suffering. Sent to me that look like they're made with like Microsoft Paint that are just like.
Well, it's better if a woman did it and made some craft thing.
Yeah, I'd prefer a like hand stitched thing actually. Yeah, like something.
But you're doing pretty good on the like when this first went up, I was like, because
I thought there'd be more death and rape.
I thought,
I get abused constantly.
You're doing good.
I think it's
doing pretty good. I mean, there's still some. It's the internet, so it's gonna be like that.
I'd say one of the top comments on YouTube is "Feminism is a cancer."
That's on our page.
Sorry, on our Facebook page, and women are about as funny as AIDS, which everyone knows an AIDS joke is about as funny as a woman.
I have to speak up here because AIDS
is pretty funny now.
Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Back when it was killing people like really easily, but now you can live like 40 years with it. AIDS is the funniest of all the diseases. Cancer, not funny.
Yeah, you still can't make a lot of jokes about
breast cancer.
AIDS,
super not funny. Can't joke about breast cancer. AIDS, have at it.
Yeah, right.
Get all heavy on those jokes. People fucking love that shit.
Yeah. Well, so watch and let me know what you thought.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's on our Twitter.
Care what your opinion is.
It's on our Twitter and it's on our show at Jefferies Show, both of them, and then you can find Laura at Laura_Willcox with 2 L's. That was one of your jokes on the thing. So
your Twitter handle should be called @HotHusband.
I should get that.
It should just be @HotHusband, and then people.
We have talked about 2 minutes about Laura's piece and about 17 minutes about
have you? And it's not just like he's good looking. It's when
he's funny too when he cooks.
Well, I don't know if he's funny because I get lost in his eyes. Yeah. Like if you look into his eyes, it's like time speeds up or it slows down. I don't know where I am, and then I wake up just covered in cum.
Yeah. A lot of cum jokes from you lately.
So, anyways, in the piece, one of my favorite parts of the piece was...
The way you said that, I don't know if it was a compliment.
No, just an observation.
Oh,
really.
okay. All right.
I stand free of judgment.
I like last week that there was a cum joke that was put in, and did you say this is our brand?
What happens is Laura sits next to me in the office when we're all writing as a team. When I come in, I sit next to Laura, and Laura sometimes is my voice of reason. Like I'll come out with a cum joke, and that's like infected cum, and then Laura just looks at me like no, and I go, okay, we're not doing that joke.
Yeah, there's a new dynamic in the room.
She's my Jiminy Cricket of cum jokes.
Yeah.
There is a new dynamic where you can.
Although we had a joke tonight that may be the greatest joke we've ever written, and this will get us the Emmy.
Oh.
It was about the Buffalo Jills and how they earn $150 a season. But for $150 in Buffalo, you can afford a 4-acre farm and then just wander around and bleed freely.
And free bleed. That is a Matt
bleed.
That is a room that Matt Kerr should pitch, a joke that Matt Kerr should pitch in the room, never expecting you to go, yep, put it in the script.
Yeah.
Well, you have to explain, though, that there was some rules that some of the cheerleaders had where they had to use tampons a certain way. Yeah.
Don't explain.
Okay. Don't forget it. I want to explain the joke. Why would I explain the setup of a joke?
Why we would joke
just
about
AIDS.
that.
Just AIDS, tampon free bleed. There you go.
Everybody's got AIDS.
But the Buffalo Jills had a rule book that told them how often to change their tampon, which is.
Don't you think with AIDS, there's got to be like a sweet moment, like in the middle there, when you've just lost enough weight that you look great?
That's a lot of diseases.
Yeah, like where people are like, have you seen Jim? He looks fantastic. And then it's like, then it turns.
And then it keeps going.
But you know what I mean? That sweet moment where you look like AIDS spelt.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's got to be sweet, man.
Get the photographer. It's today. This is the best I'm going to look. With all of our pictures.
I get my new headshots taken.
So on our last act of the show, we did a thing. We actually recorded this a little while ago. Yeah. We did a thing about Tom Steyer. Now, I personally hate Tom Steyer. We
recorded the ad a little while ago.
I think I may have pitched this myself, this one, but I dislike Tom Steyer. Now, Tom Steyer is a billionaire hedge fund guy who does those morbid ads that you see like on CNN where he goes, the country is in ruins. And time is now. We have a president who has mental illness. And
you're way more entertaining now than he is.
Yeah, I can't help it, Forrest. I can't help it. I'm
just so
I'm
boring.
So entertaining. Look, I'm so funny. I'm to funny what Don is to looks. Anyway, so
back to Tom Steyer.
God, your husband's handsome. Anyway, so
what happened today at work?
He'll still be upset about Slayer, probably. I can't believe you didn't
don't play him the podcast because I don't want him to. Like, I want to be. No, but I want to be friends. Just act play cool. Anyway, so what happened was we did this thing on Tom Steyer, and we did this little. I'll say this quite openly. We have different crowds coming in. Today's crowd wasn't our best crowd. They were fine. They were very nice people. And I'll tell you what happened. Right, they weren't big laughers, so it was a bit more. You get this was comedy all the time. You perform, and some crowds are better than other crowds. And what happens after the show is I take photos with a lot of people after the show, and I tell you what brought the crowd down. And I realized this because I did the photos. I don't know if it was a fucking bus of them. But I took photos with about 18 fucking Germans. Oh. There was a busload of Germans showed up.
Oh.
And the Germans aren't known for their laughter or personality or their human rights efforts, right? So we had
a German joke on the show.
We did. I was talking before. I do my own warm-ups, right? So what I did was I talked to the crowd, and I talked to this German woman. Did you see the warm-up?
No, I think I missed this.
Oh, I talked to this German woman, and I go, "Where are you from in Germany?" And she goes, "Oh, the southern bit." And I went, "What side of the wall would have you been on?" And she goes, "Oh, that was 25 years ago. Just forget about it." And I said, no German is ever allowed to say the sentence, "Just forget about it."
Actually, no, we won't forget about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole fucking point?
No one ever goes, 9/11, forget about it. That's how they would, because New Yorkers say forget about
it. Yeah.
Big deal. That's my new catchphrase. Don't forget. So basically, in our Act 4, we watched Tom Steyer's ad. It's super boring. And then you did your own ad. That's what we shot a while back, is you shot your own ad. You dressed him up
we did my own ad where I dressed like Tom Steyer, and I just sort of really... We did a couple of takes, and I did like a really bland read of something, and I feel like the audience liked that more than anything else we did today.
Yeah,
it went well. Yeah,
they just hated everything else and really.
I just got to see if I just got to see if the Jefferettes watch our show. I'm just going to test you very quickly. Who's our weatherman?
We didn't see that.
You don't have a weatherman.
We do.
No, he wasn't on today.
We didn't
it wasn't on today.
No. Because of that, you're not going to be on the same show as our weatherman.
He's on the wall.
Oh, there he is, right there.
It's Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Brad Pitt's our weatherman.
I haven't seen it.
He's only on like
homework.
6 episodes.
Actually, that's my husband.
Some homework to do.
He's been on that many?
If you go, well, last season he was on like 5.
Why is he not here now?
He requested. he requested to be on the show. We paid him the same rate that you got.
Wait a minute.
He got a
Brad Pitt, your husband?
Yeah.
No. Brad Pitt's not good looking.
I'm Angelina Jolie. I look really different in person. Oh wait, you're right. They split up. I'm that MIT professor.
All right, real quick.
Nicest guy in Hollywood.
What?
That was a question. It's me. What? No, Brad Pitt, nicest guy in the world.
Real quick with update on.
What the fuck? This is dead air.
Oh, your mom's chair. Your mom's chair. Did your mom get
my mother gets a chair in like a week.
Okay, that was a great update. Did you know? By the way, I meant to tell you this at the beginning. Did you know that this came out today? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They're doing a third one now.
Yeah, what is the third one? Because the original films were The Future Was Now. Bill and Ted were running the world and the whole world. Okay, you want to say something? We'll talk about Bill and Ted's.
Well, I'm from Florida, so Halloween Horror Nights, they always did the Bill and Ted show. That's all I got.
That's a weird thing to say, because Bill and Ted were they went out near wherever fucking Raging Waters is. What was the bit that Bill
San Dimas.
San Dimas football rules. Right? This is how weird it is. Bill and Ted was my first exposure to George Carlin before I was a comedian. My hero, my idol in the world.
You can try out for his part.
I saw him as Rufus in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
You can try out for his part now. They're going to need a Rufus.
Get me fucking Rufus me up, Bill and Ted, people.
Here we go. It's called Bill and Ted Face the Music. All right.
Alex Winter must be excited. He hasn't acted since fucking Bill and Ted.
I'm sure.
Like
he's
he must be rocking up. He must be rocking up, getting fucking $100,000, and Keanu Reeves getting $25 million.
Here you go. Out of luck and inspiration, Bill and Ted set out on another time travel adventure with the help of their daughters, a new crop of historical figures, and some sympathetic music legends to seek the song that will set their world right and bring harmony in the universe as we know it.
What song? Okay, I'm going to ask everyone in the room. What song would bring harmony to the universe?
What song?
In general or to Bill and Ted?
Just in our universe right now. If you
if you were going to make this, if you were with Bill and Ted.
If the aliens came down, right, and we wanted...
Cardi B kick right now.
Cardi B. Aliens attack.
The answer is all you need is Love by the Beatles. Like, well, how's it fucking so complicated? That's what you would play to aliens.
Well,
what would you play to aliens?
Love means something different.
Otis Redding would be good too.
Oh, yeah.
I'd play Beyonce.
I call him Otis Reading. In Australia, that's a different thing.
We don't get it.
Reference flyover. What song, Laura?
I was going to say Beyonce, but mostly to make fun of the fact that Jim didn't know what Lemonade was.
What happens is, and this happens
an ongoing thing.
Once every 2 weeks, Laura writes a joke that involves Beyonce, and I can tell, because what I do is I don't like to know which writer wrote which joke, because it's like when you have a turkey you're going to kill, right? You don't want to name the fucking thing before you eat it, right? So I can sit in the room, and when the jokes come out, I can go no, and so it doesn't seem like I'm ever picking on anyone, or you know what I mean. So it's all fair, right? And also I don't want to look into their eyes as their joke dies, right? So
that is funny. If you did look around the table, you could definitely tell. Like,
there's certain things, like I know when Curtis, there's a joke about cum that's probably coming from Curtis.
Right.
If that
just
joke,
catering to what you like.
If that joke comes with cum and something disgusting like bleeding out, that's Matt. But if there's a Beyonce reference and none of them have gotten in, if I see the word
Almost.
Yes, bitch, or something.
No, yes, queen.
Yes, queen. I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know. But if I see the word, yes, it's like.
I tried to get you.
Laura's on the fucking Chardonnay again.
I tried to get you to say Zamzaddy on air. I tried to get you to say yes, queen. Actually, I got you to say that, and I tried to get you to do okay, ladies. Now let's get in formation. Which your thing was like, okay, ladies. Now let's get into formation.
I've never heard the fucking song. Right? But it's like, I see this script and it's like, I'm reading the script and it's like, okay, she looks like blah, blah, blah. Okay, ladies, let's get into formation. And you're expecting a white guy from Australia to fucking quote Beyonce. When will you ever learn?
I'm going to keep trying.
Like, it's not like Don wrote it. If Don wrote it, I would fucking
get it right
smash the shit out of it. Your husband's so handsome. Anyway, so there's a lot of she tries all the time with the Beyonce. Is it always Beyonce, or is there any other artists?
I sneak like a Real Housewives reference in if I can get it, but that doesn't usually make the cut either. I'm not going to stop trying.
No, keep going. Keep going. We have all the time in the world. Now, do any of you guys have anything you want to promote? Anything in your life? A web page? Do you have a boyfriend that's more handsome than Don that you want to fucking tell us about?
My boyfriend is very handsome.
Your boyfriend's very handsome?
Very handsome.
He's no Don, though. He's
no...
Hell
yeah. I don't know, man. I haven't seen Don, but I have a lot of male friends that do what you do for Don.
No, your boyfriend would have to be so stunning that, like, other men...
Do you want me to show you a picture right now?
I would like to see this. He's no fucking Don, right? He's no Don. I assume that your boyfriend looks like Don DeLuise.
I'm sorry, I forgot everybody's name. It's Jessica. Okay, I remembered. All right. Anything would you like to promote on your own? Like, you have a...
I'd like to come back and have the weatherman here.
Yeah.
Nice. There we go. Not enough. You're the highest paid cheerleaders now. You want
It's not enough.
Brad Pitt as well.
All right, we're going to see your boyfriend. Hold on.
No. Hollywood Horror Nights. You wanted to promote again?
Yeah. We can talk about
all right. I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Let's see.
Your boyfriend looks like he could fuck the shit out of a person. Holy hell.
Has Don been dethroned?
Yeah.
Body. Look at those abs.
Yeah.
He has abs on abs on abs.
Yeah. It's a different thing than Don.
Laura,
Laura, don't look at this. You'll slide off your chair. I'm telling you.
I don't have any photos of Don like that. Let me find a good one.
No, but Don's blacker than that guy. There's something about him.
Well, I don't think you need some reference for that photo.
Anyway, no. So your boyfriend's got like abs and shit. What does your boyfriend do?
He's a professional dancer, actor, singer. He's been on Broadway 3 times.
And he dries clothes with his stomach. Am I right?
Yeah, he's a personal trainer. Used to be a fighter. Like, he's all over the place.
Oh man!
All right. Well, I'm a comedian who used to try acting. Like,
he loves you.
We've all done things.
He's very jealous I'm here right now, actually, because he's a fan.
Bring him by next time.
Bring him by.
You can bring him by. Yeah, he can come whenever you want. Bring him by. Bring him by. Give the girls around the office a thrill. Okay, well, I think that's the end of the podcast.
Well, listen, real quick before we go, please, like I said, subscribe to any of our stuff at Jefferies Show.
I'm going to the
Facebook,
bathroom.
Twitter,
Good night, Australia.
And Facebook, you can watch Laura Willcox's clip on there. And Laura, would you like to say anything else on the way out? I know you promoted stuff. But...
buy my book, I Am Bride. Review it. Unless you don't like it, then stay the fuck away from my Amazon page.
Yeah, no bad reviews. You know what I'm talking about? Not on poor decisions on Amazon. Good segue. I'm Forrest Shaw. You can go to @Forrest Shaw. It's 2 R's, FORREST SHAW. You can find the links on there. And please go buy or rent Poor Decisions on Amazon, iTunes, wherever all the links are there. And that's it. And for our podcast, if there's a topic you want us to discuss or talk about, we won't do it because we didn't do it today. No, I'm kidding. Please email us or tweet us at Jefferies Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
I tried to get you to say Zam Zaddy on air. I tried to get you to say Yes Queen. Actually, I got you to say that. And I tried to get you to do, okay, ladies, now let's get in formation. Which your thing was like, okay, ladies, now let's get into formation.
I've never heard the fucking song. Right? But it's like, I see this script and it's like, I'm reading the script and it's like, okay, she looks like blah, blah, blah. Okay, ladies, let's get into formation. And you're expecting a white guy from Australia to fucking quote Beyonce. When will you ever learn?
I'm going to keep trying.
Like, it's not like Don wrote it. If Don wrote it, I would fucking
get it right
smash the shit out of it. Your husband's so handsome. Anyway, so there's a lot of she tries all the time with the Beyonce. Is it always Beyonce or is there any other artists?
I sneak like a Real Housewives reference in if I can get it, but that doesn't usually make the cut either. I'm not going to stop trying.
No, keep going. Keep going. We have all the time in the world. Now, do any of you guys have anything you want to promote? Anything in your life? A web page? Do you have a boyfriend that's more handsome than Don that you want to fucking tell us about?
My boyfriend is very handsome.
Your boyfriend's very handsome?
Very handsome.
He's no Don, though. He's no...
Hell
no,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen Don, but I have a lot of male friends that do what you do for Don.
No, your boyfriend would have to be so stunning that, like, other men...
Do you want me to show you a picture right now?
I would like to see this. He's no fucking Don, right? He's no Don. I assume that your boyfriend looks like Don DeLuise.
I'm sorry, I forgot everybody's name. It's Jessica. Okay, I remembered. All right. Anything would you like to promote on your own? Like, you have a...
I'd like to come back and have the weatherman here.
Yeah.
Please, there we go. Not enough. You're the highest paid cheerleaders now. You want to...
It's not enough.
Brad Pitt as well?
All right, we're going to see your boyfriend. Hold on.
No. Hollywood Horror Nights. Wanted to promote again.
Yeah. We can talk about
all right. I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Let's say
your boyfriend looks like he could fuck the shit out of a person. Holy hell!
Has Don been dethroned?
Yeah.
Body. Look at his abs.
Yeah.
He has abs on abs on abs.
Yeah. It's a different thing than Don. Laura, don't look at this. You'll slide off your chair. I'm telling you.
I don't have any photos of Don like that. Let me find a good one.
No, but Don's blacker than that guy. There's something about him.
Well, I don't think you need some reference for that photo.
Anyway, no. So your boyfriend's got like abs and shit. What does your boyfriend do?
He's a professional dancer, actor, singer. He's been on Broadway 3 times.
And he dries clothes with his stomach. Am I right?
Yeah, he's a personal trainer. Used to be a fighter. Like, he's all over the place.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, I'm a comedian who used to try acting. Like,
He loves you. He loves you.
We've all done things.
He's very jealous I'm here right now, actually. Because he's a fan.
Bring him by next time.
Bring him by.
You can bring him by. Yeah, he can come whenever you want. Bring him by. Bring him by. Give the girls around the office a thrill. Okay, well, I think that's the end of the podcast.
Well, listen, real quick before we go, please, like I said, subscribe to any of our stuff at Jefferies Show.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Twitter,
Good night, Australia.
And Facebook, you can watch Laura Willcox's clip on there. And Laura, would you like to say anything else on the way out? I know you promoted stuff, but
buy my book, I Am Bride. Review it. Unless you don't like it, then stay the fuck away from my Amazon page.
Yeah, no bad reviews. You know what I'm talking about? Not on poor decisions on Amazon. Good segue. I'm Forrest Shaw. You can go to @ForrestShaw. It's 2 R's, FORRESTSHAW. You can find the links on there. And please go buy or rent Poor Decisions on Amazon, iTunes, wherever all the links are there. And that's it. And for our podcast, if there's a topic you want us to discuss or talk about, we won't do it because we didn't do it today. No, I'm kidding. Please email us or tweet us at Jefferies Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Talk about, we won't do it because we didn't do it today. No, I'm kidding. Please email us or tweet us at Jefferies Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast. This has been a Comedy Central podcast.